So, I woke up anxious today. Like, not expecting that at all. So, but it is what it is. Talked to my dad for like over an hour. Went for a walk. I'm a little bit more calm now. My dreams last night were very. I deal with vivid dreams, right? I've had my whole life, but like last night, man, it was just something else. I also went to sleep very late. I went to sleep at like almost 4 o'clock or something like that. To like a mini nap last night around like 10ish. No, a little bit earlier than that. I don't know. Anyways, all that aside. Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Shamal Pope, aka Jay Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast live for this Tuesday, September 12th of 2023. I don't normally do them live, I normally do them recorded. But like I said this morning, it's pretty intense for me, and I'm not going to shy away. I'm not going to hide that stuff from you guys because it's going to be real. It's raw. I'm human, going through this experience just like you guys, and sometimes you just wake up anxious, right? So probably because this moon is in its balsamic phase, right? We have the moon here at 22 degrees, about to conjunct Black Moon Lilith. It will conjunct today at 23 degrees. And yeah, this definitely can be, remember, Black Moon Lilith is not even like a physical body, right? It's a calculation. So sometimes we can over calculate things in our head and we can build up these fears, these apprehensions, these anxieties. With Black Moon Lilith being here in Leo, in this third decan that's sub-ruled by Mars, and with the degree being 23 degrees, 2 plus 3 is 5, and you could definitely get in your head about, your heart, your joy, your passions, creativity. You can definitely get in your head about a lot of this stuff. And of course, we are seeing this moon conjunct Black Moon Lilith squaring over to Uranus. Uranus is retrograde. Uranus is currently in Gatorade right now, right? Sloshing around. The lights aren't on, right? And it's, especially when it comes to this Taurian energy where it comes to self-worth, value, and I would say even a sense of morality in many ways. The Taurus. The reason why is because, with Aries, it's just passionate, fiery, initiating sparks, boom. But then you get the Taurus, like, wait, hold up. Wait a minute. We can't just do literally whatever we want without consequence, be positive or negative. There's going to be some consequences and some physical ramifications for the actions that we take in life. That's when Taurus comes in and grounds all of that energy. And then Gemini comes in to intellectualize it. And then Cancer comes in as that metaphysical energies ruled by the moon, something that never stops, but is also tightly locked and we only see one side of it. At least Cancer's like, okay, yeah, well, let's consider these aspects too. Let's consider the emotions. Let's consider the way that we feel about stuff. And you get to Leo, where you can kind of get to the heart of things, to the core, if you will, right? This is this square to Uranus is definitely going to be an interesting one because it's going to be like there's going to be this desire to, of course, to connect with other people and maybe wondering and overthinking, if I connect to this person, are the way that they live their life, what they have physically around them, is it reflective of something that I want or something that, I wish to experience? Or are we afraid to connect with certain people? Are we afraid to alter and go back and edit even some of these different ways of being when it comes to Taurus. Like maybe the way that you, felt your self worth and value, maybe it shifts, maybe it changes, right? And so the square right here, it's definitely going to be an interesting one because, and it happens early in the day, right? So, I mean, it's happening right now as we speak. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. It's happening right now as we speak. And then that moon, of course, will conjunct Black Moon Lilith at 23 degrees. Now, what's nice about this, of course, it is trining over to all this Aries energy. So in many ways, it's kind of like, we get the square to Uranus. So we get like this first checkpoint, if you will. It's like, okay, well, and the moon, remember, we also did square Jupiter yesterday. So we get like this first checkpoint with Uranus. Like, okay, well, we definitely have to be discerning of the people that we connect with too. We have to be discerning about who we keep as a community, if you will. We have to be, and also this is about kind of looking outside of the box too. With anytime that you get the square to Uranus, whatever like that, especially with the moon, Uranus always thinks outside the box. In the square, what does it do? Like squares, if you have like a grand cross, it looks like a box, right? So how exactly do you get out of the box, if you will, with this squaring energy? Well, I mean, definitely look to see where it lies in your chart. Of course, you can always look to the other fixed energies and stuff like that. There's nothing in Aquarius. There's nothing in Scorpio. It's been all Leo Taurus here lately, right? So we've been getting the earth and the fire elements too as well. So sometimes that's why it can feel a little difficult because there's no cooling energy. At least with Scorpio, it kind of cools things off. At least with Aquarius, it kind of cools things off. So it's like, it's been a little difficult, when it comes to that. It's like, because if you're not grounded and if you are afraid to express yourself, that's what makes this a little difficult. And how you can, like, maybe if you think outside the box or feel outside the box, then you're not afraid of your shadows. You're not afraid of your anxieties or apprehensions about the current moment or the future. When you're not afraid of these things, you're able to move beyond it emotionally. And there's an opportunity to do so because the moon does move beyond it, right? And that moon will come into the trine with the north node and sextile the south node, right? But it is in its balsamic phase. Whenever the moon is in its balsamic phase, that's the last 30 degrees before a new moon. Think of it as Pisces-like energy, right? So the veil is very thin right now. The veil is very thin. So you definitely want to be careful about what you do when the veil is thin, especially considering the fact that this is a dark moon phase that includes Leo and Virgo, and the moon will go over Mercury retrograde during this time, and it will go over the space where Mercury has retrograded. And the moon is also covering the area that Venus retrograded at, and it will reach 28 degrees today, right? It will reach 28 degrees today by the end of the day, so 10:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's like, 7:25 on the West Coast, right? We will see that moon reach that spot. And of course, when the moon reaches that spot, it's going to make the quincunx over to Pluto as well. Whenever the moon, like I says, in these final 30 degrees before a new moon, it is a time where you want to reflect. It is a time where you want to hopefully decompress. And it's not really a time to really push the envelope too much. It's not really a time to try and escape and to seek some edge. And the weird thing about this is that this is going to be a balsamic phase where it's going to be pretty tough to escape. Why? Because the moon is covering where Venus has gone retrograde. This is the first time, you got to think, in what? So this first time in 200 years where we have a balsamic phase of the moon covering the space that Venus retrograded in Leo before going into a new moon, because this didn't happen last year, right? So this is the first time that we've had this where the Venus was just solely in Leo. And I know you're thinking like, wow, wow, Jay, that's very, very particular. This is the first time that it sounds like an NFL stat, right? It sounds like these new stats that they have in sports. This is the first time that a player has done this thing in that quarter at that moment and blah. Like that's sometimes how it feels, but take this into consideration, right? The last time that Venus fully retrograded in Leo, right? It's over 200 years ago. We get new moons in Virgo every single year, right? So we get moments where the moon will be in a balsamic phase, where part of it will be in, Leo. So it'll cover this space. It covers this space every single year. But the last time that the moon could have covered this space in a place where Venus only retrograded in Leo, it's been over 200 years. So when it comes to the veil, if you will, what this balsamic phase of the moon is unlocking has some pretty intricate spiritual things that are going along with it, right? This is the area of the sun. And Venus is this planet of wanting to receive, and the planet of love, if you will, relationships. But so much more to Venus than just that, right? But that's what, Venus mechanically represents and stuff. So this is an opportunity too, where it's like we can really open up our hearts and receive this love from the universe, this love from God. But it is going to require us to, be honest about what our heart wants. It's going to require us to be honest about what edits we're going to have to make in our life because of the Virgo energy, the Mercury retrograde that's here too, the sun that's here, giving light to the space. And a moon that is quincunxing at Pluto at 28 degrees at the degree that Venus retrograded at. So some of you guys might be like, well, Jay, what the fuck does that mean? It means that these are some big moments. And that means that there is some pressure right now. And that especially with so many planets retrograde, and the energy is going to start to let up a little bit. But it always feels like the night always feels darkest before the dawn, before the sun rises, right? In many ways, it's kind of what this feels like because we are in like this sort of spiritual pressure cooker right now with all these planets retrograde. Now, Mercury is going to be coming online soon, which is nice. So we can get a little bit of our power back when it goes into power raid, Venus is in power raid right now. Power raid means that Venus it's still in the shadow of its retrograde, right? I'm going to call it power raid, though. So Venus is in power raid, right? And Mercury is about to be in power raid, too. Got how many days until Mercury goes into power raid? Got September 15th, right after the new moon. It's got a few days where a little bit of the pressure kind of lets off. So if you can make it these 3 days and just not lose your head and not overly think and not get so into your worries and your anxieties and your apprehensions about how it's going to all work out. And I know that you, just like anyone else, like just like me too, it's like are trying to work out all of the kinks in your head right now. But I think what's going to happen, especially as this moon comes forward and it hits the 28th degree, when it's going to be more of like a tomorrow aspect, but when the moon conjuncts Mercury, we'll kind of get to this moment. It's like, okay, you know what? I've spent enough time at the drawing board. Now that we're 3 days away from Mercury coming direct and following a new moon, it's like we feel like we still have to be at the drawing board trying to figure everything out. This is the part, especially with the moon and the balsamic phase of this energy. This is the moment where it's like, okay, then you start getting to like the whole conspiracy land. everything. There's like a whole conspiracy against you. This is when you get into that space where it's like someone walks into your home and you have a bunch of pictures on the wall with all the lines going here, here, and there. That's the point that we're at right now. We're trying to figure out, okay, I got this thing going on, this thing is connected over here. What if I take this action? Maybe I can fix this. If I do this, I can, change. Like that's where it is right now. So do your best not to lose your head during this time. And just remember that you are far more equipped to handle these energies than you realize. There's still, like I said, a lot of positive things going on here. You know what I mean? We have the moon, which is about to trine Uranus. You know, like I said, we do have a powerful new moon in Virgo that's about to kick off, and we have the equinox that's coming up too. So, at least the good thing with the equinox is that, yeah, Sun is at fall in Libra, Mars is at detriment in Libra, but at least they're together. At least they'll be together, and Mars won't necessarily feel alone. You actually will feel a little bit more empowered to take action once the Sun comes into Libra, despite the fact that, yeah, the Sun's not, is like I said, it's going to be in fall because it's actually fall time, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And then you have Mars in Libra there too. And we have a South Node there too. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely going to feel a little bit weird. But at least the energy is moving. It's moving forward. And you have been given tools and you're well equipped to get through these times, despite the fact that they may seem weird. This is about being appreciative for what we have in the moment. It's about being appreciative that we even had the tools in the first place. And it'd be like, it's like, well, I want to, I want to plant this garden, but I don't have like all the tools. Okay, well, what do you have? I have like a little like garden shovel. I want like a bigger shovel, but I don't have the money for it. Well, until you get the money to get that bigger shovel, use the smaller shovel. Well, it's going to take me a little bit more time to dig and plant everything, then it takes a little bit more time. Well then like I have all these other obligations and stuff, and then I want to have to like move things around and manage my time better. Then you manage your time better. The universe always will have like a solution. No matter what we throw at it, God will always have a solution. It's like, well, you can do this. Well, you can do this. Well, you can do this. And it's okay. And we get in our heads and be like, well, what if it's not okay? What if so and so gets upset, or I upset this person? It's like, well, that's the thing. Like, you're responsible for your happiness, no one else's. That was probably a hard thing for some of y'all empaths to hear that, because you legitimately worry about people. It's like, well, if I'm not around this person, or if I don't do something, whatever like that, then what if they just descend into, darkness without me being there? I was like, well, you got to take care of your own environment. You got to take care of your own place. I came across a fantastic reel the other day, and I want to share it with you guys. It was, I wonder if I could find it potentially. So I know who did it. Let's see. And this is your homework, because let's see. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Maybe. Ah. I don't know. Anyways, if I find it, I'll happen to share it with you guys somewhere. But essentially, just talking about how, you know, you are responsible for your own happiness. You're not responsible for anyone else's happiness. I think this is going to be a moment here where we're just kind of reminded to just be that beacon in our life. I think now that Venus is in power rate and coming forward, and we're in this new moon phase, we're going into a new moon phase. And we're in this balsamic period where things are, a little bit thinner. The veil's a little bit thinner, and to be thin in this area, in the Leo to Virgo, yeah, that can be a little difficult, because it's like it's matters of the heart, and then it's like matters of Virgo, where it's like we may be overthinking things, we may be trying to figure everything out, we may be hypercritical on ourselves, and then that won't make us feel good and stuff like that. It's like, you know what? We have to be able to take the information that's coming in and compartmentalize it and then deal with things one at a time. Like Virgo is really good at compartmentalizing information and then kind of dealing with it at one at a time. It's not that you're neglecting anything, but it's like, yeah, we have to kind of take that big picture and get into like the details and then focus on each of those little details. A lot of people within the spiritual community, a lot of us, myself included, we're very big picture oriented, but we don't really think about the small details. We don't think about necessarily the day to day and the day to day grind, and what it will take to really do the light work. And it is work. I say the part about it is work. So you're gonna sweat, you're gonna be tired, but it requires work. And it requires you to get up and to do things that it's going to be uncomfortable at times, and you may want to quit at times, right? Don't quit right now. The meditation that I had for today was listen to the voices of your soul and form a prayer to gain truth and vision. I love that. That's what came up, so I think today, like I said, it should be an interesting day. I think it'll be a powerful day to get more insight and more clarity, but also don't feel the need to try and just solve all of your life's problems today, because you will, wake yourself out. You will kind of, you just don't want to go to that place where you want to just solve all of life's mysteries right now. You know what I mean? This is definitely a time where you want to appreciate what you do have, the tools that you do have, the people that you have in your life. And like, what I'm saying? Like, take that time every single day. Make sure that when it comes to like your light work, when it comes to helping people and uplifting people, then make sure that you take time for yourself before you do that. Make sure that you fill up your own cup before you do that. Make sure that you take your time with God before you start to channel or do for other people, because that's, you got to be able to take care of yourself before you can do that for other people, before you can service other people. That's the other thing about Virgo, it's about service, right? So, and it's interesting too how what Leo values the most is service, right? It's Virgo energy. It's work, it's service. So it's like, how do we take our joy and our passion and turn it into servicing other people? And you can see, because like it's Virgo, right? It's not Taurus for like money. It's not Capricorn or business. What Leo values most is service, not necessarily money. Money can come from it. Financial gain can come from it, but it's service. That's what Leo values the most, because Virgo is its second house. So ask yourself, how can you be a better service to people today? How can you be a better service in general? How can you be a better service to yourself on a day-to-day basis? By connecting to your hearts and connecting with your joy and creativity and being that co-creator, because God wants us all to succeed. God loves every single one of us, but that relationship that we have to develop it ourselves with God. No one can develop it for us. So let's get into the cards. Well, yeah, we have the Eight of Wands here. He looks like he has some sort of epiphany. He's like, all right, well, shoot, I think I finally figured it out which way to go. He's definitely probably has been in thought for quite a while, and now it's just like, explosion! It's like, all right, what's the epiphany on, though? Oh, well, we have the Two of Wands in reverse. The Eight of Wands, and then the Two of Wands. The epiphany is to not be guilty about things that happened in the past. The past is the past. Okay, certain actions were taken in the past. certain routes were taken in the past. The past is the past. It is what it is, right? It's not a time to be just overly worried about the past and just be super guilty about, oh, I should have did this. This is not a time of regret. This Two of Wands in reverse is this feeling of regret. And I was like, oh, I should have went that way instead. You don't want to worry about that today. And we do have the Ace of Wands also, so it's all fire with this. We have the Ace of Wands; it's in reverse too. So, like I said, this is definitely times like, well, we can definitely come more into a renewal state and feel like that Phoenix rising, if you will. But like I said, we have to come out of our own delusions that we have, that we create in our head. And like I said, this is not a time where you want to just be so focused on the past and what happened in the past and regretting certain decisions that you did in the past and certain actions that you've taken. The past is the past, right? You should ask yourself more so, well, I guess, why do you regret them? You know what I mean? Instead of just focusing on the regret itself, it's like, okay, well, what's the why? What's the underlying current? What's going on with it? Oh, you felt like you could have done more with this, or oh, you felt like you actually were capable. Well, how can you apply that? Now that you had that epiphany, how can you apply that to the current moment, right? So let's just say, for example, maybe in the past you regretted not asking that person out that you really, really fancied, but they moved on. They might have a family, they might have kids, and you regret it because you really feel like they were the one. Well, they moved on, but now there's another person in your life, and maybe they've been showing you a little bit more energy than you've been showing them. You know what I mean? And you have to ask yourself, like, well, do you want to go through that again? Maybe you should entertain it and see what happens. Maybe the regret isn't necessarily the person that you didn't ask out, but maybe it's the growth that a relationship brings. You don't want to just date anybody, of course, right? But I get the feeling, at least with this example, that there is something there, and there is a connection here too. So you don't want to just squander your opportunities, you know? Yeah. So this is like I said, this is a time where, try to release those regrets that you have. Try to release those regrets that you have. We have the Fox. Your sharpened senses allow you to observe the actions of others. I mean, yeah, that's what foxes do. They're very opportunistic animals. They observe, 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 and then they take their action. Then they move. That's the thing about this. You don't want to get so caught up and super indecisive and just constantly observing people. You got to kind of get out there too. You got to get on the playing field. You can't just sit on the sideline. The weird thing about the fox that the fox a lot of times will just kind of sit on the sideline, and then the fox will kind of go out. You know what I mean? But today does offer the opportunity, like, the senses are going to be sharpened, which makes sense. We're in a balsamic phase, right? So it brings on this more Piscean like energy, and it's Leo to Virgo, and Virgo in many ways, it does deal with like health and the body and senses and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, it's a pretty sensitive time. So yeah, you can definitely be keyed in to the actions of other people around you and stuff. So, I think today, like I said, it's going to be a day where it's like there could be some renewal here, and there can definitely be some opportunity to take some sort of powerful action, but don't sit on the sidelines for too long, because if you sit on the sidelines for too long, that rabbit's going to get away and you're going to miss your dinner. That's the other thing too. You don't want to hesitate too much. It's like, well, but I have this thing and this thing and that thing. I was like, well, move anyways. Do something. Act. This Eight of Wands, it's like I said, we are coming to the ending. We're coming to the end of this whole analyzing and recalibration period that the Virgo season has been so far in this Mercury retrograde. We're coming to the end of it. Now we're getting to the point where it's time to start acting. And this is the part that's going to scare a lot of people, because it's like, it's in many ways they're gonna be sort of reinvigorated and imbued with new purpose, but don't sit on the sidelines for too long. Observe, navigate, but don't sit on the sidelines for too long, and don't regret what's happened in the past, because the past is the past, And right now, God wants you to be here in this moment. So, yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed that live astrology forecast. And no, it's a little bit on the later side, a little bit of a different energy and stuff. But I think this is good. Hopefully it helps you. Take what works, leave what doesn't, and let me know what you guys think. So let me know what your guys' experiences are today. So it's 10:50 right now, at least here on the East Coast, and about to end this video and then continue about my day. So, but y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you guys on tomorrow's astrology forecast, or maybe sooner. Maybe I play some video games with you guys later on today. Who knows? But y'all take care. I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.